guys, welcome back to another video. Today's gonna be slightly different than normal. For those of you who follow us, what you've normally seen is videos of us building our franchise, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today, we're gonna take a step back from that, and we're gonna talk about the 5 books that I would recommend to any business owner or anyone considering getting into franchising.
One shot, now the future is yours. Go! Yeah. I was building on a lecture, verses coming daily under pressure. Bringing on the plot and the scheme. The true stock trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking one.
I have the top 5 books here. We're gonna go through them one at a time. I'll give you guys a summary of each one of the books, and I'm gonna tell you the lessons that I learned from them. If you do wanna pick up any of these books yourself, just click on the description box below. We'll create links for every single one of these so you can easily pick one up if you're interested. So without any further ado, let's get into our first book. All right, so the first book we're gonna get into is Take the Fear Out of Franchising. The author of this book is Dr. John P. Hayes. Dr. Hayes is probably one of the foremost authorities in franchising. He's written books, he has a YouTube channel, he has podcasts. He is a franchise coach. Basically what he does is works with people, business owners who are wanting to get into the franchise space and buy their first franchise or maybe their 50th franchise. He helps them find systems that are right for them. What I've learned about franchising from this book is how to create a franchise system that is a win-win. So as a franchisor, when we put together our offering, right, what exactly is a franchisee gonna get when they buy into our system? What I learned is that it truly needs to be a win-win. Every franchisee, every business owner has goals. For some people, it might be financial freedom. For others, it might be to get more time back. This book really dives into what's going on in the head of a potential franchise buyer, and it will help you build a better franchise system. So if you haven't already read this book, go ahead and check it out. Take the Fear Out of Franchising. All right, the second book is one of my favorites of all time. It's a book called Giftology, okay? This book is all about radical generosity. So I have implemented this many, many times over the course of my career. I am a big fan of gifting. I can give you 2 examples. So I went to a conference back in 2019. The gentleman who was putting on the conference actually had shoulder surgery. And during the conference, he was actually holding up ice packs on his hand. So he's sitting there the entire conference holding up ice packs, trying to bring down that swelling. And so when the conference was over, I flew all the way back home. I sent him a card and I sent him an ice pack. It's ones that automatically strap on so you don't have to hold it. So he could sit at his desk, he can sit around the house, and it did both ice packs and heat. And the truth is it didn't cost a lot of money, right? I'm not telling you that you have to go out and spend a ton of money on gifting somebody so that you're memorable, but that's a thoughtful gift. And my hope is that he'll remember who I am and my company, and when I see him at the next conference, we already have a little bit of a relationship and I can begin to stay in touch with him and build better relationships. You can also do it in funny ways, right? Another gentleman that I wanted to do business with, I actually wanted to hire his company and I wanted to start to build that relationship. I overheard him talking about being on a business trip where one of his colleagues ordered a bunch of the spike seltzers or something like that, right? The Trulies and the spike seltzers that everybody's drinking. And I thought it was funny. He was kind of making fun of his colleague for drinking this kind of stuff. And so when I went home, what I did is I actually jumped on an app called Drizzly where you can order alcohol essentially to be delivered, just like Uber Eats. I found his address. I had to do some digging, found his address, and I sent him like 6 cases of spike seltzers. And the funniest part is where he lives has a doorman, and so they all had to be left with the doorman, and the doorman had to call him up and say, you have like 6 cases of Truly down here. And it was just funny, and it was memorable, and it helped kick off a relationship. So it doesn't have to be an expensive gift. Most important is no matter what you do, whether it's a thoughtful gift, a funny gift, an expensive gift, whatever you do, just make sure there's no strings attached. It's just about starting a good relationship. If you haven't checked out the book Giftology, highly, highly recommended. All right, my next recommendation is Franchise Your Business. This book is by author Mark Siebert. Actually met Mark once before at an IFA conference, a really smart guy, certainly an expert in the franchising space. If you are considering franchising your business, this is a must-read book. And you must read this book before you even begin to start franchising. This book walks you through basically everything there is to know about franchising for the most part, but specifically what I learned about this and what I think you will learn about this is it walks you through the creation of your FDD, your franchise disclosure document. It goes item by item explaining what is in the franchise disclosure document, and he gives you some advice or some guidance on each and every section. If I didn't read this book, when I talked to my franchise attorney to build the FDD, I would have been well undereducated. I wouldn't have understood what we were talking about, what each section was, and I would have had no background in order to make some good decisions. If you're thinking about franchising your business and you're serious about it, before you talk to a consultant, before you talk to a franchise attorney, read the book. It will save you a ton of time, it'll save you a ton of money, and it will help you make better decisions. Franchise your business. Check it out. All right, the next one on the list is Delivering Happiness, A Path to Profits, Passion, and Purpose. This one is a great book. It is basically the story of Zappos and their CEO. For me, it's a story of long-term thinking, about following your passion, and about building a phenomenal corporate culture. The lesson that I learned about this book is definitely related to the corporate culture more than anything else. If you read the book, you can emulate a lot of the things they did. You can build off of a lot of the things they did. But at the end of the day, your culture is your brand. You build a good culture, the brand is going to have a good culture. If you build a good culture, your employees become brand ambassadors for you. Your customers love the service or products that you provide to them. At the end of the day, for me, when I read this book, it really made me try to find team members that were people that I would just want to hang out with, that I would want to have a drink with. And if those are the people that we bring into our company, we're going to build an amazing culture and in turn an amazing company. So if you haven't read the book, Delivering Happiness, check it out. This one won't let you down. All right, and last but not least is Sam Walton's Made in America. For anybody who doesn't know, Sam Walton is the founder of Walmart. This book is a detailed account of his life, and it was interesting and inspiring because you really learn about him as an individual and how authentic and genuine he really was. He never tried to pretend to be someone else. This book is actually so detailed that there's a ton of lessons to learn from this book. The first one is to think small. No matter how big the system got at Walmart, he tried to think small. He knew that doing the little things right would ultimately make the system phenomenal. The second thing I learned from this is that he focused on one store at a time. In the franchising space, that's what we're trying to do with each one of our franchise partners. As we open new territories, we're trying to do a phenomenal job with the training and the marketing and the coaching of every single individual franchise. The next one is to keep our ear to the ground. As Walmart got bigger and bigger and they opened more and more stores, Sam Walton spent a lot of time traveling. His staff spent a lot of time traveling into each and every one of the stores to really know what was happening inside the stores. For us, as we open franchise territories, it's a big focus for us. Do we know what's going on in the markets with our franchise partners, with their customers? It's something that we're trying to focus on as well. The next one is to push responsibility and authority. And quite honestly, I'll tell you, this is the one that I still to this day struggle with more than anything else. You can't do everything all by yourself. As his system grew, he had to bring on some great executives and some great staff members to manage different pieces. And he had to push down the responsibility and authority to them. There's some great strategies on how to recruit those people and how to manage those people in this book. Definitely recommend you checking out those pieces. The next part is to let ideas bubble up. And I've read this not only in this book, but in other books that talk about the founding of Home Depot and things like that. Great ideas don't always come from the top. I think the most famous franchise story is probably McDonald's fish sandwich, right? The idea of the fish sandwich didn't come from corporate, it came from one of the franchisees who was in a territory that couldn't sell cheeseburgers during Lent. So they begged and pleaded, can we please do a fish sandwich? They said okay, just in this one location. It was wildly successful, and now everybody has the fish sandwich, right? Good ideas can come from anywhere. So make sure you have a channel to receive input and to receive those really great ideas. The next one is to stay lean. Walmart, as big as they got, Sam Walton always tried his best to stay lean, to stay profitable, to not have exorbitant expenses. I think it's a great lesson learned for any business. If you haven't checked out Sam Walton's Made in America, I absolutely recommend it. Might be one of my favorite books of all time, and I learned lesson after lesson after lesson. Check it out. All right, guys, that's it. Those are my top 5 recommendations for books for entrepreneurs, specifically entrepreneurs that are thinking about getting into franchising. Hopefully you find them helpful. Hopefully you pick up the books and you learn something as well. Again, in the description, we'll put a link to each and every one of those books just to make it convenient for you. And lastly, if you have a book that you think I should read, please put it in the comments down below. I'm a big audiobook guy. I'd love to add your recommendations into my library. Thanks again for checking out the video, guys. We'll see you in the next one.